So, Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, inshallah, we are talking about graphing linear inequality. So, we'll start with the linear inequality. What is the meaning of linear inequality? Linear inequality is the relation between x and y of the first degree and represented graphically by a straight line. If you want to graph the linear inequality, the result will be a line and a shaded region. So, if the inequality, the sign of the inequality is greater than or smaller than, the line will be shaded line, dot line, not solid line. If the sign is greater than or equal or smaller than or equal, the graph will be straight line. That's the difference between greater than or smaller than and greater than or equal or smaller than or equal, as we said last time. So we have two types of linear inequality. The first one can be written in standard form, which is ax plus by is equal c. That's we need to write it as a linear equation, or y equals mx plus b. If the equation written in a standard form, to graph it you need to use the x-intercept and the y-intercept. To find the x-intercept, just let y equal 0. To find y-intercept, let x equal 0. So to solve any equation or to graph, we need to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So if x equals 0, then we find the value of y. Suppose that's y equals b. So the ordered pair now will be 0 and b. And let y is equals to 0, then x is equals a. So the ordered pair now will be a and 0. Any problem for this one? That's how we can graph. If you have the inequality and the standard form, so we convert it to be an equation. After that, we find x-intercept and y-intercept, then we can graph. If the equation written in a slope-intercept form, we need to find the slope and we need to find the y-intercept. Any problem for this one?
No, Mr.
Is there anything is not clear? You need to repeat it. Any problem for this point?
No, Mr.
So, what's the problem?
No problem.
Okay. So the first inequality that we have, which is x plus 4y, is greater than 2. This inequality is written in standard form, the standard form of the equation. So step number 1, to graph the inequality, convert to be an equation. So it will be x plus 4y is equals to. That is the first step. Even if that's written in standard form or slope-intercept form, convert to be an equation. Then this equation written in standard form, so we will have to write let x equals to 0 and let y is equals to 0. So after that, we need to find the y-intercept. If x equals 0, it means the remaining now will be 4y equals 2. From that, we can say that y is equals 1 over 2. So the ordered pair now will be 0 and 1 over 2. That is the first one. For the second one, if y equals 0, it means x is equals 2. So the ordered pair now that we have, which is 2 and 0. Any problem for this one?
No, sir.
Okay. Now look at the sign of the inequality. Look at the sign of the inequality. The sign of the inequality is greater than and y is positive. The main point that y is positive. The main point that y is positive. If y is positive and the sign is greater than, it means you will shade above the line. If the line is horizontal or if the line is vertical, you will shade the part at the right. If that's greater than, you will shade one of the two parts. If the line is horizontal like that, so we'll shade this part. If the line is vertical, you will shade the right part. If that's smaller than, it means you will shade under the line or at the left of the line.
Okay.
And you can check your answer by substitution at the point 0 and 0. Any problem for this one?
Yes, sir.
So you can check at 0 and 0. What is the meaning at 0 and 0? You just replace x with 0 and y with 0. So we have here 0 plus 4 times 0 is greater than 2. Is this right? This inequality
Yes.
is right now. 0
No.
is greater than 2. No,
Yes.
it means the 0 is greater than 2 or not. Yes or no?
No.
No. It means the part which contains the point 0 and 0 is not the part of the solution. The region which contains the point 0 and 0 is not the part of the solution. So now we can graph the line. That is the first line and that is the second one. So that is the coordinates. We need to graph the first point, which is 0 and 1 over 2. That's 0 and 1 over 2. The second is 2 and 0. Because the sign here is greater than or smaller than only without equal, it means the graph will be dot line. Huh?
Is the
What is that again?
Again for this one. Look at the sign of the inequality. What is the sign of the inequality that we have?
Greater than.
It's greater than only. As we said now, the sign of the inequality is greater than only. That's greater than or smaller than. It will be, the line will be dotted line, dashed line.
Okay.
If that's greater than or equal or smaller than or equal, it will be
Connected.
solid line. Which part's supposed to be shaded? Because that's greater than, it means we will shade above the line. So that is the part will be shaded. And make sure you can check your answer by the part which contain the point 0 and 0. Where is the part which contain the point 0 and 0? That's the part. From the inequality, we say that the part which contain the point 0 and 0 is not one of the solutions. It means this one is not the shaded part. Get the idea for this one? You can find the shaded part from two ways. The first way from the sign of the inequality. That's greater than and y is positive. It means you will shade the part above the line or at the right of the line. And you can check to make sure algebraically, just replace the point with 0 and 0. 0 and 0 satisfy the inequality or not? It's not satisfy the inequality. It means 0 and 0 not one of the parts of the solution. It means the shaded part will be the other part, the part which doesn't contain the point 0 and 0. Any problem for this one?
What if
I don't
y
know
was
what if.
negative?
I don't know what if. Convert it to be positive. Leave what if until we find. If y is negative, suppose that we have x minus 4y is greater than 2. Suppose that for this one. X minus 4y is greater than 2. How you can solve it? The main point that I need y to be positive. So how can I make it positive? Multiply all of them by negative 1. Is this right?
Yeah.
So negative x plus 4y, because you multiply by negative, you will change the sign of the inequality.
Y has to be positive.
Y has to be positive. The main point that y must be positive. You get the idea for this one?
Okay.
That is the main point, that y must be positive. Plus? Okay. So for question number 2, we need to solve it. Again, for question number 2. Number 1, you need to write the inequality in the form of equation, so it will be 3x plus 1 over 2y is equals to. Convert to be an equation. So when x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 0. When x is equal to 0, so 1 over 2y is equals to. Then y is equals to 4, so the order there now would be 0 and 4. When y equals 0, it means 3x equals 2, then x equals 2 over 3. La ilaha illallah. Who said 0.?
2.3.
2 over 3. Not point. Leave the point.
Okay.
I don't like to deal with this many. It's a fraction, 2 over 3. Please. If the denominator is one of the number that we can write it in an equal fraction, exactly fraction, please don't convert to be decimal. Again, fraction is halal. We can deal with fraction. Fraction, we can work with fraction. It's not haram. It's halal. Plus,
Yes.
we can work with
Yes.
fraction.
At 0.
Decimal is makruh. Fraction is mustahab.
Now, Mr. I understand very clear.
At the point 0 and
Yeah.
0. So by substitution at the inequality is 3 times 0 plus 1 over 2 times 0. This is smaller than 2.
Yes.
Yes, so the part which contain the point 0 and 0 would be one of the solution. And from the sign of the inequality, we will shade the part below the line, down. So that's the first one, that's the y-axis, and that's the x-axis. So the first order pair, which is 0 and 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the first point. And the second one, 2 over 3 and 0, so that's the second one. So because we have a sign here is smaller than or greater than only, its mean will be dashed line, dotted line. It's not solid line. Malum? Okay. So
Mister.
that is the first one. Yes.
Can you explain more about at 0 and 0?
Just replace x here with 0 and replace y here with 0. And check if the inequality will be right or wrong. That's all.
Then we shade now to the left because the sign is left hand, right?
Now you will shade to the left because of two reasons. The first one, it's y is smaller than, it means you are going down or go to the left. Plus, you are going down or left to the line. And the second reason, when you substitute with 0 and 0, it means the inequality, it satisfies the inequality. It means 0 and 0 is one of the part of the solution. Where is 0 and 0? That's 0 and 0. So the part which contain the point 0 and 0 is the solution of the inequality. Any problem for this one?
No, sir.
Is that clear? Okay.
Yes.
Again, for this one, how we can solve it. Number one, convert to be an equation. So, negative x plus 2y is equals 4. Then when x is equals to 0 and y is equals to 0. When x equals 0, it means 2y equals 4. Then y equals 2. So the ordered pair will be 0 and 2. When y equals 0, it means negative x is equals 4. From that, we can say that x equals negative 4. So the ordered pair now will be negative 4. Negative 4, not minus 4, please.
Negative 0.
So at the point 0 and 0. So negative times 0 plus 2 times 0 is greater than 4. Is this right or wrong? Wrong. So the part which contains the point 0 and 0 is not the part of the solution. And from the sign of the inequality, y is positive and the sign is greater than, so we'll shade the part above the line. So
Above
0
or
and
right?
0, above or right. So 0 and 0 not lies above the line. To make sure of your answer, 0 and 0 not lies above the line. So that is the two lines that we have, x and y. So the first one, which is 0 and 2, and the second is negative 4 and 0. So because it's more than only, so we have dashed line. So we will shade the part above the line. Above the line, that is the part which above the line.
The 0 and 0 is not included.
Because we have two reasons. Because the sign of the inequality that we have, which is greater than, it means above or at the right of the line. Or the second one, when you substitute with 0, you will find that 0 and 0 not lies at the solution region. Any problem for this one? Any problem for this one?
No.
Sir.
No.
But Hazik.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hazik. في
Yes.
مشكلة ولا ما في؟ ما في. Okay. So now we need to solve y is the smaller than or equals 4. What is the meaning of y is smaller than or equals 4? At first we need to convert to be an equation. So the equation now would be
Y equals 4.
y equals 4. What is the meaning of y equals 4? Parallel to x-axis and intersect y-axis at the point 4. What is the slope?
0.
The slope is equal to 0. So the graph for this one, when I say y equals, it will be parallel to x and intersect y. When I say x equals, it will be parallel to y and intersect the x-axis. So that is the first one, and that is the second one. So now, because we have here, it's greater than or equal, or smaller than or equal, it will be a line, dashed line, line, not dashed line, solid line. 1, 2, 3, 4. So from 4, I will grab the line here. So this one will be y is equals 4. That's the line for y equals 4. And because it's a smaller than, it means will shade down. So we can check if the answer is right or wrong if you choose at the point 0 and 0. You can check at 0 and 0. Is there any x? There is no x, but there is y. So y is smaller than or equal 0. If the inequality is right or wrong?
Yeah, it's correct.
It's correct.
Correct.
It means the part which contains the point 0 and 0 is one of the solutions. That's 0 and 0. So we'll shade this part, the part which contains the point 0 and 0. Any line divided the plane into two regions, above the line or below the line, or at the line, at the right of the line, and at the left. 0 and 0 at which part? Like the angle, if you have any angle, if you remember the angle divided the plane into two regions. The interior region, that is the interior region, and that is the exterior region. That's called the exterior region of the angle. You understand it? That's the interior and that is the exterior. So for any line, it's to divide the plane into two parts, above the line or below the line. So 0 and 0 lies below the line. And the solution and 0 and 0 satisfy the relation or satisfy the inequality. It means all of the part which is below the line or all of the region which is below the line is the solution of the inequality. If you choose any point below the line, you will find that it will be at one of the part of the solution. You understand this one?
Yes.
Okay. So for number 5, how we can solve number 5? By the same way.
X plus 4y.
So can you solve it, please? Now, any problem for the inequality? Any problem for the inequality?
No, mister.
Can you solve
No,
question
sir.
number 5 and send it to me?
Yes.
Okay. Solve it and send it to me. Now,
I don't understand the add 0 and 0.
just replace x with 0, replace y with 0, then check for the inequality. If the inequality is right or wrong. After making the operation, suppose that we have an operation here like 3x plus 2y is smaller than 5. At x and 0, it means 3 times 0 plus 2 times 0. Is it smaller than 5 or not?
Yes.
Yes. It means the part which you contain after graphing. Now you have two parts. After graphing in a line, for all of the previous, after graphing in a line, you will find that we have two regions. Region number 1 and region number 2. The region, where is the region which contains the point 0 and 0? That's region number 2. Is it right?
Yeah.
So the region which contains the point 0 and 0, is it? That's right. It means this region is the solution. What if I say 3x plus 2y is greater than 5? When you substitute for 0 and 0, it means 3 times 0 plus 2 times 0 is more than 5. Is it right? No. It means the part which doesn't contain the point 0 and 0 will be the solution. You understand it now? Any line, if you draw any line, you will divide the plane into two parts. A part contains 0 and 0, and the part doesn't contain 0 and 0. If the inequality is right at 0 and 0, so shade this part, which contains 0 and 0. If the inequality is wrong at 0 and 0, shade the other part. Okay? So solve question number 5, please, and send it to me on Telegram. I will open the Telegram now.
Yes.
Okay. The first step of solving the inequality. Number 1, convert to be an equation. Plus, so it would be x is equals to negative 6. What is the meaning of x equals negative 6? It's represented by vertical line. This line will be parallel to y-axis and intersect x-axis at negative 6. Because I say x equals negative 6. This line with a slope undefined. Any problem for this one? But when I say
إلى الآن
y
واضح.
equals -6, it will be horizontal line. And it will be parallel to x-axis. It will be parallel to x-axis. And will be cut the y-axis at -6. What about the slope? Will be equal 0. For any horizontal line, the slope will be equal 0. For any vertical line, the slope will be undefined. Any problem for this one? Now we have x. X is mean vertical line. So how we can graph this line? That is the coordinates. That is the x-axis and that's the y-axis. And we have here -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Because I have x, it will be vertical line. So I will draw a vertical line from -6. It will be solid line. Why this will be solid line? Because we say that it's greater than or equal. If that's greater than only, it will be dotted line or dashed line. Okay? If this sign now is greater than, what is the meaning greater than? When I say x is greater than -6, what does it mean? It's going to the positive infinite or to the negative infinite. X is greater than. X greater than any number. It's going to the positive infinity. When I say is greater than, it's going to the positive infinity. When I say smaller than, it's going to the negative infinity. Okay? The positive infinity at the right. Even if the number, the line is horizontal line, when I say more than, it means it's going to positive infinity. Positive infinity means up or down. Positive infinity, up or down?
Up.
Up. So I'll shade the above the line. معلوم?
معلوم.
Okay, that's for number 6. What about number 7? Number 7, all what we have to do, just convert the equation and the inequality to be an equation. 3x plus y is equal to -8. So let x equal 0 and let y is equal to 0. So y is equal to -8. So the ordered pair now would be 0 and -8. And when y equals 0, it means 3x equals to -8 divided by 3. Then x is equals -8 over 3. Then the ordered pair would be -8 over 3 and 0. Plus, then which part will be shaded? The part which contain the point 0 and 0 or not 0 and 0? Because we have here more than, it means you have to graph the line and the shaded part will be above the line. But we need to check. We can replace 3 times 0 plus 0. Is it greater than -8? Yes or no?
Yes.
It means the shaded part will be the part which contain the point 0 and 0. If you draw any line, you will have two regions. One part contain 0 and 0, one part doesn't contain 0 and 0. Now the part will be shaded, the part which contain the point 0 and 0. So we can graph the line. That's the coordinates. This one. Okay. And we have the first point 0 and -8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the last point. And we have -8 over 3, which approximately equals 2.6. So -2.6 is mean at this place, because we have greater than only, it will be dashed line, not solid line. So that's the line. It's mean now from more than, it will be above the line. Above the line is the part which contain the point 0 and 0. It's mean our solution is right. That's the way to check if your solution is right or wrong. From the inequality, we shade the part which is above the line. Above the line, it means this is the part which contains the point 0 and 0 from the substitution. معلوم?
معلوم.
Is there any point is not clear for this one?
No.
Mia Mia?
Yeah.
Is there anyone didn't understand how we can graph the inequality? Because the next lesson, inshallah, we know how to solve the inequality. Solve system of the inequality. It means the graph will contain more than one inequality. Any problem?
No, Mr.
Mia Mia? Okay.
Yeah.
So see you inshallah next week and have a good enjoy your weekend. Inshallah. Okay.
You too, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sloan.
Thank you.
Assalamu
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim.
alaikum. Assalam.
Mr. Sloan.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
Welcome,
Assalamu alaikum.
baby. Wa alaikum salam. Hazik.
I have some problem how to convert decimal to fraction, Mister.
I didn't ask you to convert decimal to fraction. I asked leave it as a fraction.
Yeah, how do I do that, Mister? I don't understand how to.
I said leave it as a fraction. I didn't ask you to convert it. My question is say leave it, don't convert it. So ask me how to convert. I ask you leave it without converting. Leave it as a fraction. Just write it in the calculator and leave it as a fraction. Don't press SD. Leave SD. Remove the SD. Leave it as a fraction, please. That's all. Okay.
Thank you, Mister.
Welcome. Assalamu alaikum.